it is Sunday for us again, which means meal prep day. So we have been trying to figure out what all we're going to make. So this week is the last week of the month, which for a lot of us, a lot of you guys, we know the last week of the month is a pretty scarce month or week. Feels like a month. So this is when we get challenged to make as much from home as possible without having to run to the store for too much. So I'm going to start this morning, well, today, it's not this morning.
It's our own little pantry challenge.
Oh, it's a pantry challenge. So we're going to start this afternoon making some brunch. We're terrible on Sundays about eating breakfast. We don't get out of bed. We all just lounge around until noon usually, and then we get up and get moving. So I have some puff pastry that that Rusty got out for me, so we can defrost it. I'm gonna make some, we've got some ham steaks that we cooked earlier this week. This is farm fresh ham. And then eggs and cheese. I'm going to make some little puff pastry breakfast or brunch pockets. And I am going to make enough to put in the freezer for Rusty and Desi to be able to take to school and work with them. So we're going to do that. And then we are also going to, so here's the lineup today. I think the lineup is going to be, I need to make a marinade for some chicken legs that I want to put in the crock pot or in the oven. I'm not real sure yet, but we're going to barbecue some of those this week. What is that? Barbecue chicken, and then what are we going to do for sides?
Green beans and salad.
Green beans and salad, so no prep there. That'll be tomorrow. And then Tuesday we're going to have kielbasa sausage with stir fry. I think that'll be really good. Because it'll be a one skillet meal. We don't have to have anything with that. And then Wednesday we will do a beef. I have a chuck roast in there that I do want to make with some vegetables just in a pot. So I do want to kind of get that prepped. And then we have Thursday is Desi's day to cook, and she has said that she wants to make cheesy mac. So that's hamburger and that's just thrown together, so we don't really have to prepare anything for that. She wants cheesy mac and corn, so that sounds really good. And then Friday, what we realized this last week is that we are going to have to implement a must-go night. Again, we did this when our older three were home. Must-go night is everything. The puppies are playing. It's way too cold to be outside. Everything must go. So I have a lot of food in there. I think today we're just going to kind of clean that up. We'll go through. I'm not cooking for today other than the brunch, and then after that tonight for supper, everything must go. So I'm getting help from the puppies. Close up, zoom in. Desi, do you want to do me a favor and put a doggy gate right there? Put the doggy gate right there so they can't come in here. So anyway, that's what we are planning. I'm also going to do some meal prep for my lunches because I am doing keto, and so there's a lot of things that I want to prepare for that. I have some avocados in there in the fridge that need to get eaten. I'm going to make those into some lime tahini, or they will be lemon tahini snacks. We will do that today. So when we were at Sam's last weekend, I did pick up this humongous bag of peeled garlic, fresh and peeled. So I am going to do a few things with this. I want to grind some of it up, mince some of it up in the Ninja and put it in the freezer for later use. I am also going to roast some of this, possibly with olive oil, if I have olive oil, but I want to roast some. I think I have sesame oil. That might actually work. But I want to roast some of this and put it in the freezer, because that will help elevate some of the different recipes that we have later. And then I'm going to just freeze some of these, just plain, just like that as well. We also picked up this massive bag of yellow onions. You guys, these onions are big. They are beautiful. So there's a couple of things I want to try with these. First, I'm going to chop up some of them. I will slice some and I will dice some and then freeze that, just so then that way it makes life easier when I am cooking. I'm also going to try making some keto onion rings that I saw online. They just look really good, and I want to try that. So I don't have the donut pan that it calls for, but I bet I can make something work. So that's the lineup for today. It's a lot of cooking. Let's get to it. All right, so for these puff pastry breakfast or brunch, last weekend I cooked these ham steaks in the oven when I cooked the bacon and sausage and stuff for the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits. I'm trying to cook different things so then that way it's not the same thing over and over. But I had already cooked this and I had stuck it in the refrigerator, but now we're going to use it in these little puff pastry sandwiches. So this recipe calls for scrambled eggs, like already scrambled. So I am going to get my eggs in my skillet. Now I like to start, oh, thank you. So eggs is one of those things, scrambled eggs is one of those things that everyone has their opinion on how to make the best scrambled egg. I have never really given it much thought until we started watching Gordon Ramsay's, what is that, kitchen, not Hell's Kitchen, the other one. What is that we were watching?
Chef.
Was it Top Chef? No. I don't know. Anyway, we started watching Gordon Ramsay, and he did a, class on making the perfect scrambled egg. Ooh, that's a big one. And I watched that and I thought, let's give it a whirl, and I'll be darned if it's not the best little eggs. So start your eggs and butter cold skillet. So let's move over to the fire and get this started. Rusty used his Google machine, and it is MasterChef is what we were watching. So I am going to salt those and pepper them. And this is on a cold skillet. It's also on a dirty stove. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it looks like I have a lot of scrubbing in my near future. So it is a slow process. We're just going to warm this skillet up, and once it starts to warm up, we'll start to kind of move our eggs around. The trick is to take the eggs off the fire before they are completely done cooking. Poke all my little yolks there.
That is no yolk.
That is no yolk. Okay, now that we've got it cooking a little bit, I'm going to move it off the heat. Stir it up really good. And then put it back on the heat. Still got a little chunk of butter in here. It will melt as it cooks. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that from the heat again. I'm going to stir it up just a little bit. And right now, while it's still, well, a little runny, I'm going to go ahead and add some ham in it. See how fluffy those eggs are? That ham is just sitting right there, just on top of that little cloud. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my 2 kinds of cheeses. I have a Colby Jack here. And then I also found this at Sam's. It's pepper jack cheese with jalapenos, and it's just sliced, but in a big deal. And I think I'm going to use some of this, but I may use this in the puff pastry itself. So let's go ahead.
The slices?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to start taking some of those apart?
Yeah. How many do you think?
I'm not real sure. Try 6 maybe, or 8. Okay, so I'm going to put this back on the fire. And these eggs are just about done. I don't know if you guys can see how fluffy those eggs are. And like I said, I don't want them to be completely cooked because I don't want them to get rubbery, because they are going to go in the oven afterwards. And right here at the end, I'm going to add a little bit of cream. Well, this is half and half. Normally it would be heavy whipping cream. I do not have any, but half and half will work just fine. Just to kind of keep that creamy eggs, especially with that cheese in there. Makes my mouth water. I don't know if you guys can see how creamy that is, if that's coming through, but it is absolutely gorgeous. What is it?
Pepper jack cheese.
Pepper jack. Ooh, all right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn that fire off underneath and leave these there to kind of set. Sorry, trying the cheese. So, puff pastry. I've got two of these sheets. I'm going to unroll those. So, I mean, technically, we could do 6, I think. Don't you?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut these right in the crease. And then I am going to cut them across. Let me put the other one on top, so then that way I make sure that I am cutting it correctly. Everything's the same size. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing here. Can you? No. Okay. Oops. Got a strip of the other one, didn't I? Rusty recently sharpened my knives, so that is really nice and sharp. And then I'm going to go across. Some of these might be a little bit bigger than others. Okay, so now we have the tops and bottoms for each of these. So Rusty's already taken these cheeses apart for me. I'm just going to place one in each. Of these 6, we may not have any left over for for lunches, but it looks like I'm gonna have plenty of eggs left over that I can make some burritos or some biscuits. So I'm just going to put a good amount right there in the middle. I may need a smaller spoon. Oh, that smells good. Oh yeah, I way overcooked the, way made too much egg. I needed way more puff pastry is the problem. We know for next time, don't we? Okay. You want enough room around the edges so that you can close these up. So I'm going to heat up this puff pastry just a little bit in my hand, kind of get it pliable so that it can go over that egg. Just like that. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a fork and I am going to crimp this closed.
Take some water.
Probably. I may have needed to warm that up as well. Thank you. So Rusty's mom was a baker. She baked a lot of cookies and cakes and things. And Rusty, growing up, he got to help his mom some, and so that's why he knows the tricks of the trade too. Oh, we got a little bit out of there. That's all right.
Got a squirter.
Yeah.
Reach through here and grab that ham out of your way so you got more room.
Thank you. So here you have it, this perfect little breakfast toaster. It's not a toaster because I'm going to bake them, but I guess it gets toasted. Toasted. I poked a hole. That can be detrimental. Okay. I just hope those are big enough. All right. Add a little bit of water. That's okay. I can use this water right here. We want that gold color. If you can't find it, I'll go old school. All right, so we can't find our baster. It's no big deal. I'm gonna take this paper towel, and this end is clean. Let me move this over here. And we will just baste with the paper towel, no big. Okay, so my oven is set at 400 degrees. It's already preheated. I'm going to stick these in there and I am going to cook them according to the box instructions. And let me look and see what that is. It is 15 minutes. So we will bake these for 15 minutes. All right, you guys, Eureka, or as Rusty says, Yahtzee.
Yahtzee!
Rusty found some of the net carb tortillas in the refrigerator. So I am going to make the rest of that egg mixture and breakfast burritos that I can enjoy as well. So, Will and Rusty too. He's really not supposed to be having a whole lot of carbs because he is diabetic and, you know.
I don't know what she's talking about.
2, 4, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so let's go ahead and get these put together. We're gonna go ahead and put the pepper jack cheese in these as well. All right, so see, as these eggs have sat there, they have already kind of set up a little bit. That's why I was trying to be real careful not to overcook them. I'm going to put them in the breakfast burritos, and then we have to microwave them. You know, we'll put them in the freezer, and then we have to microwave them to cook them or to warm them up so those eggs hopefully will continue to be nice and fluffy. Oh, wow. That's going to be amazing.
Cheesy.
I think
That's too much egg.
Too much egg. Just trying to make burritos.
So you got used to making those bean burritos.
Well, with the big
old
tortillas, yeah. All right, so. All right, and so rather than putting them in a freezer bag, I'm just going to stick them right here in this tortilla bag. We got an assembly line going here. All right, so that was almost perfect. There's just this little bitty bit that was left right here.
And just like that, 3 minutes, another meal.
Yeah, that's because I didn't make my own tortillas. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and dump this out because this has got a lot of the sides. But another alternative is if we would have had more than this, I would have just stuck it in bowls and made breakfast bowls. I got that idea from Michelle too. Man, I'm gonna keep hanging out with Michelle. You got some good ideas. All right, so my timer went off and I went ahead and pulled these out. I want them to get brown on top. So I did put them back in and I put that on broil. So I don't want to go too far away because I know that can turn very, very fast. While those puff pastries are finishing up, I'm gonna grab these avocados, and this is not the normal recipe that I normally do, but I'm going to make these into snacks for the week. Actually, I think I'm only going to do 2 of them as a snack, and then I'm thinking about making some taco salad for a couple of days for lunch. So these 2 big ones, you can tell they're ripe, and one of the ways to tell is to just bump that little stem, and if it just falls right off, you don't have to force it off, you know that they are ripe. This one's kind of sunk in, so this one may still be a little hard. Doesn't feel like it though, so see if I can get under it and then see if it just pops right off. Yeah, it was a little bit of an effort, but I think it's going to be okay. So normally what I would do with these is I would cut them in half, squeeze lime juice on them, which I'm still going to squeeze lime juice. This lime is terrible, so it's been in there and I'm hoping that it's okay. And then I would put tahini on them and put a rubber band over them, put them back together, put a rubber band over them, and put them in the refrigerator. I cannot find my tahini to save my life. I don't know if I took it with me somewhere and then forgot to bring it home or what, but I do have these zaz that I had picked up in the produce aisle at our local grocery store. And this one is chili lime, so it's basically like tahini, and this is tamarind, and I really like tamarind. It's more of a sweet flavor. I have this hatch chili also, but I'm not going to use that one. So, and I could not find my bag of regular rubber bands, but I do have some of these ponytail holders that this was out of a packet that has not been used. So these are just, I mean, you can tell they still have the creases in them where they have not been used. So I'm going to just substitute what I have. Hopefully we can get any juice out of that at all. I want to taste that. Okay. Just making sure it's not rancid or nasty. Just don't want a brown on top. I just don't understand. Okay, so I'm going to cut these in half. Open them up. Take my pit out. Okay, so now what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to poke them. Do not throw your pits away, you're going to need them. And don't poke too far where you poke a hole in the skin. Just want to poke it just like that. And then I'm just going to pour just a little bit of juice on each one. Now this is going to give it flavor, but it's also going to keep it from turning black so fast. Okay. And that avocado will absorb all of that juice. And then these two are a pair and these two are a pair, I think. Is that correct? Right, I can't remember which ones are pairs, I guess. Yes. Okay. So on these two, I'm going to put some tamarind. Okay. Then I'm going to put this little thing back in it. Mush them together. Spilling lime juice. And then I'm going to take one of these brand new, never used hair ties. And I'm going to just put that around inside something so that when the juices spill out, you don't have a mess in your refrigerator. So this other one, I'm going to put the chili lime. Put the pit back in. Close her up. And that is it. Those are ready. I can take just a half of one and have it for lunch or for a snack during the day, or I could take the whole thing and eat half of it in the morning, half in the evening, or whatever. But those are ready. So the longer they sit in the refrigerator, I mean, within reason, the better, because all those flavors will just marry right into each other and it makes for an awesome snack. Guys, check those out. Those look absolutely amazing. The pastry has puffed way up. They're flaky and beautiful.
They smell amazing.
So we're gonna go ahead and, take a break from cooking so we can try these, and then we will get right back to cooking. All right, so moving on, it's a little bit later. We kind of got sidetracked and had to do some running around, but I've got this kielbasa sausage. We're going to use part of this. This is a family pack. We're going to use part of this for supper one of the nights this week. So I'm going to go ahead and get it chopped up smaller, so then that way it's just kind of a dump and cook on a weeknight. But the rest of it, I am going to cut it in lengths, and I am going to go ahead and bake it. And then that way I'm going to use that for lunches. We can, just kind of have like a sausage link for lunch. So I buy this stir fry, deluxe stir fry. Like this one has broccoli, Italian green beans, carrots, baby corn cobs, water chestnuts, and red peppers. This is what I'm going to be cooking this sausage with later this week. So I'm going to go ahead and get it all diced up and put it in a bag. And then that way all I have to do is dump these two things in a skillet and cook it up, and we'll have supper. I'm not going to cut them real thick. Freezer bag. That is very good. That sausage is very good. take all the air out of this bag and put this in the refrigerator because we are planning on having this on Tuesday night. There's no need to freeze it again. It is staying nice and warm in here. Okay, so with these other two, I'm going to just cut them in lengths. So there, there, and then this will be a link. All right, and I'm gonna stick these in the oven and just let them cook. All right, so I've enlisted some help. Rusty is going to help me out by getting the onions taken care of. So he's going to go ahead and start slicing those and dicing those for me. In the meantime, I've got this chuck roast that I'm going to be putting in the crock pot at some point this week. I think that's on Wednesday. So I want to make a marinade for that so that that can marinate until Wednesday, and that will get it good and tender, and all of those flavors will have time to marry together. So, because you guys are kind of far away, we'll just talk through it. We've got 3 cloves of garlic, which again, this is why I like these garlic cloves that are already peeled. I'm going to throw those in. I'm just putting this all in a bag because this is where I'm going to put the roast. We want a tablespoon of Worcestershire, 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, which I usually just use the spicy brown mustard. Okay, so there's the spicy brown mustard. Calls for balsamic vinegar. This time around, instead of using the white wine vinegar, I'm going to go ahead and use some apple cider vinegar. I don't have balsamic. I don't really keep balsamic vinegar in the house. So I'm not going to go pick some up for a couple of marinades. I'll just use what I have. Apple cider vinegar. Then we're going to do half a cup of soy sauce. I don't know that I have a whole half a cup, but we're going to use what I have.
Use what we got.
Looks like I got a quarter cup. I'm going to do a quarter cup of vegetable oil. I could do it calls for olive oil. Again, I'm just going with what I have. Looks like I'm going to have to make a grocery list here pretty soon. Maybe we can go on a grocery haul together. A tablespoon of white sugar. So my tablespoon is dirty with all of the mustard on it. So I'm just going to use my teaspoon and do 3 teaspoons, which is equivalent to 1 tablespoon. And then 2 teaspoons of onion powder. I have regular onion powder right here. 1, 2 teaspoons. And then a teaspoon of black pepper. I've got the coarse ground. I'm actually going to do 1.5 because I like black pepper. And then 2 teaspoons of dried thyme. 1, 2, and last but not least, 1 teaspoon of dried rosemary. I am out of homegrown rosemary, but I do have some in some store-bought here. All right, so this is my marinade. I'm short just a little bit of soy sauce. I think I might add a quarter cup of Worcestershire just to you know, get the liquid in there, and plus I like Worcestershire. More of that barbecue flavor. Smoke, I could put smoke in it, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I'll do 1/8 of a cup of Worcestershire, and I'll do 1/4 cup of liquid smoke. Okay, 1/8 of a cup of Worcestershire and 1/8 of a cup of liquid smoke to kind of make up that liquid of the soy sauce, plus it'll give it a little more of a barbecue-y flavor. Perfect. Now what we're gonna do, chuck roast that is still slightly frozen, which is okay because it's gonna be in the refrigerator for a couple of days. We're going to move all of this around. Actually, I should have pierced the roast before, but it's kind of frozen, so I'm not gonna worry about it because it's going to thaw in this liquid. And it's
gonna be okay, 'cause it's gonna be there for a few days.
yeah, it's gonna be there a couple of days. So, and as always, ooh, that mustard didn't really mix up, did it? Use it as a binder. As always, you want to put it inside a pan just in case. And if I think about it, tomorrow or the next day, I will flip it and let it soak on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and let as much air out of this as possible. I don't know if you've ever seen beef when it oxidizes, but it doesn't look attractive. A lot of times it's still good. It's just, you know, have you ever seen like ground beef when it starts to kind of turn brown on like an edge of it or something? Well, that's just the beef oxidizing. That doesn't always mean it's bad, but I'm gonna let as much air out of this bag as possible just so that my roast doesn't oxidize. Wow, look at that. Look at all those onions. Rusty is on fire. Actually, baby, I want to try to make some, since you've got those. Let me clear this off before you start putting them all up.
I don't think you have.
It's not big enough? Oh, well, I'll do it on a cookie sheet.
5 of them diced.
Okay, I'm going to use this, and I don't know how well these are going to come out. The video I saw used a donut pan. I do not have a donut pan.
You do not have one?
I do not have a donut pan. But I do want to spray this good because I do want it to be able to come off of there. And I've got to make the marinade for the chicken, so I don't want to move. I don't want to take all of that out. So I'm going to try these keto onion rings. If I can make some of these, this might be one of my sides on one of the nights, or even for lunch. It'd be a great snack. So I think the whole point, I think the whole point in having a donut pan is so then that way it will hold the cheese all together. But we're gonna try it. I'm just going to try to pile the cheese around it. If you've ever made cheese chips, you know that the cheese just basically makes this massive blop. So I don't know how well these are going to go. They may just be onion cheese chips because I don't have anything that would contain them. But I'm using this Colby Jack that I had shredded last week and that I used in the burritos and stuff, or the eggs this morning. Into the oven. I have it set at 400 degrees because I have those sausages in there. I'm going to see how those sausages are doing also.
Oh, they're getting there.
Yes, let's go ahead and roll those over. Children, do not try this at home. Tortilla fingers.
Tortilla fingers.
That one, darn it. Okay. right, so we are moving on to the barbecue, marinade for the chicken. And it is bone-in chicken because we have drumsticks. Okay, so the kind of barbecue sauce we're using, we just got some original Kraft barbecue. This is just what we picked up while we were at the store the other day. Normally we would use like a Sweet Baby Ray's or something like that, but I am trying to get away from a lot of the sugared barbecues. I know they all have sugar, but I don't know, maybe this just makes me feel better. So I need 1 whole cup of barbecue sauce. All right, 1/4 of a cup of oil, a couple of cloves of garlic. Well, it says grated or minced, so let me grab some minced garlic. I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons. Again, we love garlic, so if you are not as fond of garlic, adjust accordingly. And then it calls for a tablespoon of soy sauce. Again, we are out of soy sauce, but I am going to use the liquid smoke. So I'm not saying liquid smoke is an alternative for soy sauce, because it is not. It's just an alternative for us because we like that smoked barbecue flavor. 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. I'm not finding the smoked paprika.
It's okay, you're adding smoke to it.
Yeah. I am just going to use regular paprika. And then freshly ground black pepper. I'm going to do a tablespoon of my coarse ground. It also calls for kosher salt, and I missed that, so I'm going to put a whole tablespoon of kosher salt in there. All right, so I'm going to close the bag, leave the air in it so that I can really mix this up. Now the recipe will tell you whisk this together and then mix this. I find it easier just to leave it, put it in the bag, mix it up. Less dishes, plus you get it on the sides of the bag. When your chicken goes in, it's already there. All right, so that looks pretty good. It smells amazing. Okay, and then I'm going to rinse off my chicken and get it put in the bag. That may be too many drumsticks for my marinade.
Oh no. So once it starts running down around there.
All of those chicken drumsticks are nice and coated. I'm going to lay those on this pan just in case it leaks, and then this is what we'll be cooking tomorrow. I'm not going to be putting this in the crock pot because I don't like overcooked chicken. It, like, I don't know, the texture of it when it's too cooked, it's like mush and I can't handle it. So I will be putting these in the oven when I get home from school tomorrow. The sausage, the reason I'm cooking them here at home is because at school I have a microwave. So, which I know the microwave would cook them, but I like that good baked taste. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out and put them in a, probably just a plate, just so that way they can cool off and I can get them in a bag. All right, so here's the result of putting those onion rings like that, is that they're just going to be big chips with an onion in the middle, which is fine. But I'm going to go ahead and pull them out because the edges were getting crispy and it is kind of hard to take it off of foil sometimes. So I'm going to let that cool, and then hopefully it will pull right off that foil. Okay, so I've got this garlic. Roasted garlic is great in soups. or pasta sauces, things like that. I'm going to do things a little different. I'm going to use some extra virgin sesame oil. This is not toasted, so what I read is that this would work better for roasting. So I am just going to dump some on, and then I have to and then I'm going to pop this in the oven. It's still 400 degrees. I'm going to kind of mix it so it kind of coats it. Coated. And then once I get this roasted, I can either mash it up and make a paste out of it and put it in the refrigerator, or I can just take it whole, roasted, and throw it in the freezer. Rusty is going to utilize the Ninja and get the dicing of the onions done a lot faster. Bless his heart, he's been holding out since I've been talking on the video. But this will make life a lot easier. I also need to decide what I'm going to do with these avocados before they go bad. Alright, so here's what these onion rings, are not really rings, they're just onion chips, look like. So I'm just going to continue peeling these and setting them aside so they can cool. And then I can get them in either a Tupperware, that's probably what I'll do. I may have these with the barbecue tomorrow night.
Yeah, that'd be good.
All right, so there's my onion cheese chips. They're not really onion rings unless you can have square onion rings. Guess you can, huh?
I do now.
All right, so these have cooled off enough. I'm gonna sort them into little baggies that you can just grab and go. Probably 3 in each one. That's a good lunch. That with some, either one of my avocados or some cottage cheese.
Yeah.
Or both, you know. Alright, so I don't know if anybody needs to know this, if you did know this, but you can actually freeze avocados. So, the way I like to do it is I'm trying to cut my finger off.
Don't do that.
I just like to slice it. Honestly, it does not matter what you do, how you slice it, dice it. It doesn't really matter, because once you freeze it, it loses its integrity a little bit. So this will only be good to make like guac or a avocado salsa or something of that nature. But at least you don't, if you don't have a use for the avocados right away and they're about to expire, at least you can preserve them, because let's face it guys, avocados, just like everything else, are extremely expensive, especially this time of year. So I started to slice them. I'm just going to lay them in there. I try to lay them in there flat, just like everything else. So then that way, if I only need a half of avocado or just a little bit of avocado, I don't have to just dump out the whole shebang. These are beautiful avocados. I think we got these at Sam's as well, didn't we? And they were a pretty good price. So we picked some up. I think they were like 60-something cents a piece. Once you figured it, we bought them in a bag, but I think they were just like 60-something cents a piece, and that's pretty good price, especially for these large avocados. So I prepared 2 of them to take to school with me, but then the rest will be, I can make into something. So I'm just going to lay them flat in the freezer. Guys, so those 10 pounds of onions, Rusty sliced onions. These are sliced, and then he diced all of this. You guys, he just saved me hours just in this alone, not even the slice. He saved me hours in the kitchen. Thank you, honey.
You're welcome, honey.
Rusty has all that onion done. I still have that garlic in the oven that is roasting. I'm going to also mince up some garlic, and then the rest of this I'm going to put it in the freezer just like this, whole, and I can just reach in and grab some if I need it.
We need a jar for that, don't we?
Yeah, because I think I can just put it in the fridge. All right, and just like that, I have some minced garlic, and we are going to put that,
Good in
I
that.
think so, in a jar. I am not real certain. I think I'm gonna need another jar.
That's what I just said.
So I've got 2 pints of minced garlic. I'm just gonna put these in the fridge. If I see them start to turn a little bit, I can throw them in the freezer, put them in a bag and put them in the freezer. I do think my roasted garlic is done as well. There it is. They are beautifully roasted. Woo, they're very potent, but they look pretty. And I'm going to let them cool down. And then I'll decide if I'm going to mash it or if I'm just going to put it in a jar as well. All right, you guys, so we are done in the kitchen. Man, that was a long day again. It wasn't quite as much, but I had help. Rusty came in and helped me, and we love to cook in the kitchen together.
Yes,
so
we
that's
love being in
always,
the kitchen. I love going in and helping her. I always tell her, I'll be your Sue, so.
You're a boy named Sue?
A boy named Sue.
All right, you guys. Well, I hope you like our videos. If you do, please hit the like button.
Subscribe if you haven't already.
Yep, share with your friends.
Leave us some comments. Let us know what you think. Most of all, don't forget to smash that bell and get notified of the next new video when it comes out.
Yep, until next time, you guys. God bless.
See ya.